Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Distillery series. I'm Ron Nobielski, founder and president of my group, Bonded and Bourbon, bourbon group on the south side of Chicago. This distillery series is all about Four Roses. So, where did it all begin? Well, the exact origins of Four Roses' name are debated. Okay, some say it was founded by Rufus Mathewson Rose, while others credit Paul Jones Jr., who trademarked the name in 1888. The most popular story involves a romantic proposal where the woman responded by wearing four roses, symbolizing her acceptance. The distillery was built in 1910. The iconic Spanish mission-style distillery was originally named Old Precedence Distillery. Didn't know that one until I looked it up. In the beginning, the brand gained popularity in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. It even survived Prohibition by producing whiskey for medicinal purposes. It's one of the few distilleries that were able to get that license. 1943, Seagram bought Four Roses. It was a sad day in Four Roses history, as far as I'm concerned. They made the controversial decision to discontinue selling Four Roses product here in the United States and only focused on a blended whiskey under the same name. So they got rid of the straight Kentucky bourbon and only focused on a blended version. The straight bourbon continued to be sold in Europe and Asia, where it remained extremely popular. Okay, and to this day, Four Roses is a very popular brand overseas. In 2002, the Japanese Kirwan Brewery Company purchased Four Roses and brought the straight bourbon back to the U.S. market. This marked a very big turning point for Four Roses, and has since regained its place at one of the top bourbon brands here in the U.S. At the same time, they reached out to this young guy named Jim Rutledge. Jim Rutledge was pretty much solely responsible for renewing the Four Roses brand here in the U.S. During Jim's tenure as master distiller, he also launched the single barrel product in 2004. Jim was the master distiller from 1995 to 2015. 2015, there was a young kid that was a big prominent part of the distillery, one of the master tasters at Four Roses. And Jim decided to hand the keys to the distillery to now current master distiller Brent Elliott. Brent had been with Four Roses since 2005. Jim saw his passion for the product and set Brent up to be the next master distiller, giving him all the tips and tricks and how he brought back Four Roses and made it the brand that it is today. In 2023, Four Roses marked a very historic market history, and that was being open for 135 years. During Brent's tenure, he's launched the Small Batch Select. That was in 2019. Brent also launched the newest product that is highly sought after every year, and that is the Small Batch Limited Edition bottle. Four Roses is unique. First off, people who don't know much about Four Roses, they use 2 different mash bills and 5 different yeast strains, resulting in 10 very distinct bourbon recipes. Now that 10 different recipes allows them to create a very wide range of flavors and profiles that come out of that distillery. Okay. One of the things that you can find out there on the shelf, and they're still sitting around like 100, 120 bucks, is the Four Roses tasting kit, where you get a little 2-ounce bottle of each of the 10 recipes, right? So the point of that is to find what recipe you like the most. And then you can get yourself a second set and you become a master blender and seeing what profiles you like the most blended together. Okay. So the core lineup of Four Roses is the standard Four Roses bourbon. This is the flagship product. It is a blend of all 10 recipes. It is what's stayed around in the U.S. And continues to strive. Okay, it's a very relatively easy to find shelf bottle. The Four Roses single barrels. Those were released, and it shows unique characteristics of one specific profile of the 10, right? This is also where all store picks come from, okay? And just recently, Four Roses released 3 of the different 10 recipes for shelf products. They're kind of allocated right now. I was able to get 2 of the 3. I'm trying to find the third one. But that was very exciting because what Brent saw were these were the 3 of the 10 recipes that stood out the most, that were always the best in the blends, that was always the best in the limited edition release. So he made the decision to bottle those 3 different separate recipes. You also have the Four Roses small batch. Now, this is a blend of only 4 select recipes. It offers a balanced and a very complex flavor profile at the same time. Okay, so one of my favorite products. All the Four Roses products are my favorite. Four Roses Small Batch Select. It was a newer edition. It was what Brent brought out, and it featured 6 different unique recipes at a higher proof than the small batch was. Again, both of them, small batch / select. I've gone through at least 3 or 4 bottles of each. I find them amazing. And then, as I said earlier, they also started producing the small batch limited edition release. This is a yearly release. It is highly, highly allocated. Matter of fact, really the only chance of you finding one is to be a Four Roses member, which I am, and I got notified, and it goes into a raffle, and you get the opportunity to come and buy a bottle. You can't just walk into the shelf, can't walk into the distillery, can't find it. I was lucky enough to trade a couple other bottles, and I got the 135th anniversary edition, which I thought was really special. Okay, it's a big history point in Four Roses. I love their products, so it was really important for me to get the 135th, and I'm currently trying to get a 2024 and a 2022, so I can have at least 3 different sets. But I read an article this morning that said the limited edition releases on the odd years tend to be better for whatever reason. So if I can't get a 2024, I'm definitely going to try to get a 2025 this year, and see what I can come up with. So if you have an extra 2024 or 2022, and you want to share that bottle with me, I appreciate it. I've got a couple of different bottles that I can trade for it. But yeah, reach out to me. So the 135th anniversary bottle was special because it was 1 barrel of OBSV. It was 6 barrels of OESV, 7 barrels of OESK. This left the product with an amazing flavor profile that is said it's going to be very, very hard to beat. And everybody who's had the 2024 said the 2023 was probably the best it was in a long time. This was released at 108 proof. The age statement on those barrels was anywhere from 12 to 25 years old. So think back, this is 2025 now, but in 1999 is when at least one of those barrels was filled and put in the rick house at Four Roses. So that makes for an interesting product, and I can't wait to crack it. I'm going to crack the 135th open for my birthday this year. So I hope that gives you some information about Four Roses, maybe some things you knew you didn't know. There is more on Four Roses. I just didn't want to take up a whole lot of time. I encourage you to check them out. They have 2 different facilities in Kentucky. There's the production facility and bottling facility, and then there's a bottling only facility. They are on the Bourbon Trail. Give them a check out, right? They do tours. They do tastings. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much like every other distillery out there now. So thank you for tuning into this episode. I hope you found the information useful. Make sure to give me a like, share, a follow. Share with your friends in the bourbon community. Help me grow my channel. I really appreciate it. And tune in next week when I'll be talking about the James E. Pepper Distillery. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.